Now it should work. Perfect. Sorry about that. Okay, a few things. A few things. Okay, so this should be a little better. Hopefully, there's not the noise that I've been noticing lately, which is a pretty big pain in my butt. Oh boy. What do we got here? The sound is okay. Everybody's connected. We're gonna go with the news as we usually do. What do you mean by that? Well, that was a rough start. Oh my god. Okay. I should have taken a little bit more time to get set before starting. This we can push over there. This is not going to be used now. This is still connected. This is too far. I don't think this is going to be ready. Mm. Everybody's using the AI. Fuck, this is not gonna lead anywhere. It's stuck in a loop. And contrary to a human, they do not care. They will repeat the same information and over and over and over again. Ay, 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 ay. Yeah, I had this thing a little too close to my face, I suppose. I think I just need to speak a little louder. Yeah. God, this is bad, 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 bad. It won't tell me when I can pick up my package. So much for those intelligent agents. All right, that's great. Everything's too far. Great. So we're gonna read the news as we usually do. There's not that many news today, unfortunately. Does the freeze work? Does it need to be reconnected every single time? What a pain in the butt. Why is anything? Why isn't anything working? Surprise, motherfucker. All right. This is so sad that it's funny, or it's so stupid that it's funny, and it makes it sad in reality because of the impact that it has. Thanks to Microsoft adding all those extra features to Notepad, there's a new feature, a new attack vector with a high security rating. And you know what gets the high security ratings? Well, pretty much 100% of the time. Is it going to be that? Usually it's a remote code execution. Let's read through. Microsoft acknowledges there's another one. Okay. Unfortunately, the addition of formatting and tables now includes one more feature, a remote code execution. Wow, surprise, surprise. Oh my God. This is what you get. This is what you get. But now there's nothing that we can do because they take those big ass decisions that affect your computer, the devices that you use. Oh my god, remote code execution. That means, well, all kinds of nasty stuff on your PC. That's an understatement. Hackers can run whatever the fuck they want. This is why it has such a big rating. Microsoft acknowledges the issue in its security update guide, snappily labeled as CVE. This is the reference of this vulnerability. With a common vulnerability base score of 8.8 and temporal score of 7.7, it's rated as high security problem. Huh. Usually, remote code execution, they get a little bit, well, they get closer to 9, 8.8. That's pretty much the same thing that was said here. Well, 8.8 is pretty close to 9. So a user opens up a markdown file that contains an innocent looking link in it, but upon opening said link, Notepad then starts to load and execute remote files that scrape data or do other nasty stuff with the computer. So if you're logged in with administrator rights, the attacker would have the same privileges too. God damn, that's pretty bad. So the impact here, usually in our work environment, would be lesser, wouldn't be as bad. But if you don't have, proper policies and proper management, and users are by default admin with the same profile that they work, this is gonna be pretty bad. Pretty bad. All right, so the computer would need to be connected to a network for the attacker to gain remote access, and it would only trigger if the user opened the markdown file and then clicked on the link inside of it. If you think, well, silly Billy, I'm sorry, I'm on call. I'm on call and I keep getting email notifications. Okay, so here they give a little bit more context as to what needs to happen for this to become a actual risk. But if you pair this with Copilot being integrated as an agentic uh, operating system that is able to take actions on your behalf with your same permissions, what do you think is going to happen? The exact same thing. You can have Copilot open Notepad and this specific file and click on the link. So because of this new technology, this scenario where it seems like it's just a very specific context where it would happen, it it's not anymore because an attacker now can create something different, instead of having them connecting to your computer, they could have the whole chain of attack, okay, described, and each step uh, you know be described in a way that the agent would take action when it would read it. So you could imagine having fake ads on Google. You would see a normal image that when you look at it as a human, you wouldn't be able to interpret more information than what is shown, but there could be encoded inside of an image or text or anything really. There could be encoded information that is going to be interpreted by the agent. So, what do you get if your agent is then also at risk of creating the context where your computer is going to get access from? It's pretty bad. It's just so stupid all around. Why do you need AI in fucking Notepad? Honestly, this is stupid. And you can't trust anybody because we saw, I think it was last week or the week before, Notepad plus plus update delivery system was infiltrated and they were pushing actual malicious code through a legitimate channel. So what do you do then? We're we're cooked. Is this on or off? Man, this is honestly one of the most difficult starts I've had in a minute. All right. So this is pretty gross if you ask me. If you're wondering what Markdown is, it's a simple markup language that can be used to translate basic text into HTML. And it's what Microsoft uses to give Notepad the ability to add tables and formatting. Example, bold or italic to a text document. So if you've used it, I don't know if yeah, if you've used it in the past, it used to be very simple, very basic. It was the most simple text editor. You can imagine the actual first versions of Word were just a tiny bit more advanced than what Notepad used to be. It used to be very, very basic. Word got super bloated, and now Notepad is getting bloated also. That's what happens. You get companies that they get so fucking big and they have so many employees, and now they're firing everybody as well. But everybody's got to work, right? So I mean, who said? I think Notepad needs to be more like Word. That was a stupid idea, but nothing surprising here. All right, so this security vulnerability isn't an issue with Markdown itself, just how Notepad renders it. But exactly how Microsoft will fix this isn't clear at this stage. For now, though, you can avoid the problem entirely by sticking to some important procedures. Do not download any files that you can't verify the integrity of its source, and never click on a random link. Okay, so do you think that this sentence here you can just show it to an agentic LLM model? Do you think this is gonna stay? This is gonna stick? Because we're gonna see in the next couple of news that whatever the fuck you do, it's not gonna be able to put some proper safeguards around that shit. So I mean, obviously, th- it just looks like they're doing shit that is so bad on so many aspects at the same time that is just going to multiply together how bad it is. It is insane. The good news is that there is currently no known exploitation of this vulnerability doing the rounds out in the wild, and even if there was, it's pretty straightforward to avoid putting your PC into harm's way. This is the most stupid take. This is the most stupid take. Nick Evanson, you're stupid. I'm gonna say it just like that. You're absolutely stupid. This is such a big ass blanket statement. We've seen multiple times whenever there's new uh, known vulnerabilities that are made public. You have multiple state-sponsored uh, actors, or independent bad actors, or just hackers, whoever. They jump on proof of concepts and they try to apply it as quickly as possible. You have other vulnerabilities that are more than just proof of concepts and are being exploited. We've seen exploited hours after it was announced. There you have two options. Is it because they already knew about it, or they learned about it by the exploit being made public? In any case, well, they say that it is because it was announced because they can measure, what type of scans are being made, and if you have a bad actor looking for specific ports or specific services, you maybe they're looking for something specific, so they're able to be to measure it. Security researchers usually are able to gauge that. But you got, I don't know how long, I think it's been 2 or 3 weeks, 24. Okay, so in about 4 days, it's going to be a month, I think, since Molt, no, OpenClaw, Moltbot, whatever it changed names so many times. It's going to be about a month when it was released, right? And there's so many people that just jumped on it without thinking about any of the consequences. And this is something that it's taking action, right? It's taking action. So what the fuck? People are going to start exploiting this just as any other thing. I saw another news earlier today where people were surprised because there's a wave of attacks that are using old techniques, old methods. And so people are surprised because why would they do that? Because it works. Because there are still computers that are not patched. There are still computers that are connected to the internet where they shouldn't. No, non-exploitation. This is gonna take a minute, and it's gonna be bad. It's pretty straightforward to avoid putting your PC into harm's way. That's a stupid take. I should keep the soundboard closer. Anyways, you think that Microsoft would have already thought about the possibility of it before going all willy nilly with expanding Notepad's feature set? I mean, we've seen Microsoft just take stupid decisions one after the other. 10K, 10,000 Claude desktop users exposed by zero click vulnerability. Zero click is pretty scary. That means that you do not have to take action, you do not have to interact with the computer, page, service, system, whatever the fuck. You don't need to do anything for it to infect or exploit your device. Here it is specifically software Cloud Desktop. So let's see. A newly disclosed, yeah, boy. A newly disclosed, I keep saying Claude and closed. The O sound is all fucked up. All right. A newly disclosed flaw in Entropic's Claude desktop extensions show how a routine productivity feature can enable zero-click system compromise. Sheesh. Layer X researchers found that a single malicious Google Calendar event can trigger remote code execution. I mean, this is an old news. This is an old news. We read that shit a minute ago, and this is gonna be inherent to the systems, the way that they work. None of them are infallible. None of them are 100% able to prevent that because you have this model. It receives input, right, and then it takes action, whatever. You have that shit connected into multiple environments or systems or whatever. So if it's connected to something and it's able to use the connector to receive input, it is going to be able to receive commands. It is as simple as that. Because people do things, people make mistakes, and people are able to exploit those mistakes. That's it. If you have a model that is trained, and then you have reinforcement learning, right? You're not fixing the issue. You're just trying to take the model and align it as close as possible to what you want it to be or do or behave or whatever the fuck. It takes one hole. This is the thing about security, you need to always be 100% secure. You cannot fail. You have to do it. You have to do it 100% of the time, all the time. You can't stop. You can't make mistakes because that's the thing. A hacker, a bad actor, they only need one mistake, and you need to be good all the time. So you have reinforcement learning. If this does whatever, and whenever you query or you interact with the model, it looks to you that it is aligned. But what about all these other contexts where you didn't think about it, you didn't do the reinforcement, you didn't cheat, you didn't do any of the stupid ass tricks that you're using to make it seem like it's intelligent and all of that. If you didn't think about that, then it's not the model is anymore. It's not Claude. It's not ChatGPT. It's nothing. It's just that black box of information, and now it behaves differently than what you expected. This seems so evident how bad it is. So you got Claude here, desktop, that people use it to code. So it interacts, I think, with the computer. But you have stupid ass people connecting OpenClaw with their credit card, their you know software as service platforms, virtual private servers where they're running remotely, connected to the internet, have access to a phone number, WhatsApp. It just looks so dangerous. So we've seen from this hard drives being wiped. I guess that was the most devastating so far. Uh, I don't remember seeing anything too crazy, and I think that's the reason why people aren't aware or aren't trying to be aware. They just want to jump on a bandwagon. I don't know. Well, let's go through it just as a reminder. But this one's an old news. Yeah, that was announced elsewhere before. Well, let's see. Yeah, January 26th. I think it wasn't too. No, that's something else. Yeah, because the Google Calendar one is not the first time we read about it. Doesn't matter. If exploited by a bad actor, even a benign prompt, take care of it, coupled with a maliciously worded calendar event, is sufficient to trigger arbitrary local code execution that compromises the entire system. You want it to be able to interact with the computer. That's what you're gonna get. What a sound! You that scared the shit out of me. That's pretty cool though. Oh, fuck, man, my heart. Oh, so I'm sorry. All right. If exploited by a bad actor, even a benign prompt, take care of it, coupled with maliciously worded calendar event is sufficient to trigger arbitrary local code execution that compromises the entire system. Yeah, so for those unsettling, I'm sorry. Caught me so off guard. I wasn't expecting it. Well, it's not the first time that we see it. It's gonna keep happening. It interprets information. Text is information. You could deliver it by any connector that you have with it through any system that is able to be connected. You can imagine that it is susceptible to be exploited. So the one that I keep thinking about is just ads. Google ads with embedded information, because we saw some what was it, there was a Google Earth, a fake Google Earth ad. Oops. Google Earth, Google Earth, okay, Google redirect abuse in 2024. So I saw two different people be victim to it. They I don't remember if they went through the whole thing, uh, but the big issue was that instead of having Google Earth being a favorite in the browser, they would search Google Earth, and the first link was an ad that had all the same information as the regular link, but whenever you would click on it, there would be a redirect, and you'd have a fake Google Earth with, just a standard planet image. And whenever they would click on it, then they would be redirected to the next step in the attack, where it's another domain where this one was a little more iffy. And I just picture ads like that that would make the LLM wipe everything that you have, or send information. There's um there's a news. I think I heard it or saw it yesterday, I want to say. So a model that specifically did not have access to API keys needed some to be able to pursue its task. And it was able to extract the API key from a Docker command and use that. And so I think they were presenting it as being a little mischievous, trying to outsmart, or you know push a little too forward. So if it's able to do that in a controlled environment where you sorry, where you give it some rules, and it has directions to follow, and it's still able to do that, what is going to happen when you have bad actors who actually take the time to craft something that is not going to be detected, because it's going to pass through malware detection, and spam detection, phishing detection, because it's just text. It's nothing inherently malicious, but because it's able to take actions, then it becomes super dangerous. And we're going to see in the last news um, exactly that. None of them are uh, safe. They're not foolproof. It's going to happen. And if it's if there's even the slightest chance of it happening, it's a huge risk. We should not pursue that. We shouldn't implement it. But that's not where we're going. Okay, so this one's a little interesting. I saw I think a couple of months ago a news about Worm GPT, which is a model that you could query, and it's supposed to have no filters, no safeguards. You could ask it whatever. Here, like the main feature was uh, code malware or cyber crime focused um, endeavors. But now, then again, people do things, people make mistakes, and those mistakes are exploitable. It doesn't matter if you're a good actor, you're a bad actor, you're a company, you're state sponsored, you're alone. It doesn't matter. Everybody is everybody's it makes mistakes. And so we see it in big software that is able to be exploited, and we also started seeing more and more bad actors producing vulnerable stuff. You have either people that have low technical knowledge and use vibe coding to do cybercrime. You have also just regular people that uh, haven't foreseen specific things. I'm so sorry. Sorry about that. Um, so yeah, you have bad actors that produce um, hack as a service, either ransomware as a service, DDoS as a service. They offer these services to less um, technical people, and either I'm sorry. Mm, my throat is dry. My throat is dry, and I keep talking like a motherfucker. I keep breaking my train of thought. It just happens. Everything is exploitable. And here, this is the news. The database allegedly was leaked, and information of 19,000 user has been leaked. So that's pretty bad. If you used Worm GPT and you queried it and you asked bad stuff, this is probably going to be leaked. So a threat actor operating under the alias site has claimed responsibility for leaking the complete Worm GPT database. Ooh, complete, that's bad. A notorious cybercrime focused artificial intelligence platform that has been sold on dark web forums since 2023. Oh, that's interesting. I've learned about it just last year. Hackmanac observed that the alleged breach reportedly exposed sensitive information linked to more than 19,000 users, including email addresses, user IDs, and subscription and billing metadata. That is crazy. That is so crazy. Well, whenever there's a leak, the important thing to know for yourself is what information was leaked. This is a very dramatic one. You wouldn't want that to happen, but since it is most likely for cyber criminals, we don't really care. You got to be pretty stupid to use like your own email address and billing information. Oh, but it says here billing metadata. That's curious. That's curious because it would mean that it's not exactly the billing information, but from my understanding is that there's a lot of extrapolation that you could do from metadata. So this is still worrisome. Well, it doesn't really matter here because cyber criminals. All right. WormGPT is a malicious AI tool built on the GPT-J language model developed in 2021, specifically designed to operate without the ethical boundaries and content restrictions found in legitimate AI platforms like ChatGPT. I mean, you could go this way. You could use a jailbreak prompt, or you could run your own models locally. I mean, these are all different ways to get to something that is less restricted. And there's also online models in different countries, I want to say, that do have uh, less restrictions in certain regards. The platform has been trained on malware. Yeah, boy. The platform has been trained on malware related data sets and offers features including unlimited character support, chat memory retention, and code formatting capabilities. Unlike mainstream AI tools that implement strict content filters, WormGPT was explicitly created for cybercriminal activities. The platform had been advertised on underground hacking forums since June 2023, offering subscription based access through the dark web. So you see that we get something like the commerce commerce fuck people behave like companies on the dark web, right? They offer the same types of services. They work based on reputation, but sometimes they rush products to market. There's vulnerabilities. We saw, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, uh, a cybersecurity research firm that was able to hack into a software as a service platform that was poorly set up. Is just crazy. So and even more now that there's this vibe coding, people are able to shit out applications. And I mean, unless you have experience, unless you know a little bit about web development or app development, there's so many things that you will not be able to foresee. It's going to be dangerous for yourself and or for your users. So apparently they had different types of models tailored for general or specialized malicious uses with advanced feature like context memory for ongoing conversations and coding formatting tools. Oh yeah, so that's another thing. Okay. This one is pretty interesting because people, stupid people that were trying to scam, they were filtered pretty quickly. Because if you would read something in English that made no sense syntactically or grammatically, you would just dismiss it. But what the fuck do you do when they use systems that are able to craft emails that were remarkably persuasive and strategically cunning, showcasing its potential? So now you get it is so I don't know. There's a lot happening at the same time. It is democratizing skills, certain skills, but people that do have skills, are able to do way more. So I don't know. Honestly, it's not all that different than from before. Then you used to have script kiddies. That's what you would call people that would find scripts online that do specific things that they did not write themselves and just use it. So you don't understand exactly what you're doing. You're not 100% on what's happening, but you are taking malicious actions. They were script kiddies, but I don't know. It feels like it was there was still a barrier of entry then. I'm pretty sure a lot of people, especially with the Watch Dogs 2, these types of games, Cyberpunk, about like hacking and whatnot. It would be so cool if I could get inside of this asshole's email or whatever. But you had to look deep to be able to do these things. Now, I don't know, things like that feels uh, like it's too accessible. Anybody can do anything, or you can pay to have someone else do it for you. Beyond phishing, Worm GPT can generate malicious code, including ransomware scripts, spyware, and exploit code for SQL injection. Jesus Christ, I'm having such a hard time. And exploit code for SQL injection, cross-site scripting, and buffer overflow vulnerabilities. This is interesting because ransomware scripts written this way, there was a ransomware that was vibe coded, that was unencrypted, because Like the what's it called? The private key was hard coded inside of the script. And this one again, we read it. I guess it's last week. Uh, all right, so this one, basic cryptography mistakes. When a ransomware runs, it generates a fresh eh, RSA encryption key pair for each execution. So far, so normal. But then it immediately discards the private key, which that's okay because it's a ransomware, right? The one piece of information that's absolutely required to decrypt anything. Once again, ransomware. Uh, oh, no fucking way. Okay, this is a new one. This is different. This is different. Okay, so the other one, the cybersecurity researchers, they were able to unencrypt the encrypted information that was done because of the ransomware. They were able to unencrypt it because the key, it was hard coded inside of the encryption script. But this one, which is also most likely vibe coded, it's a little different. Instead, you just don't have any more of the private key. It's gone forever. And here it says this per execution key generation isn't tied to any recoverable master key, making encrypted data permanently inaccessible. The attackers themselves can't fix it. The decryptors they provide are useless, obviously. And then you can imagine, is it because they themselves developed a ransomware script? Is it because they had access to a ransomware that was provided by someone else? Is it because they misconfigured? Well, most likely not, because if you have a proper developer that sells hacking services, even though it's bad, don't do that. A professional will make it so that even if you sell a tool to someone, this type of situation wouldn't happen. It would be like all in one tool. So everybody, you got stupid people everywhere. You got stupid people trying to do stupid shit all the time. How does something this broken even happen? The answer appears to be vibe coding. Fuck. Okay, let's cut. How does something this broken even happen? The answer appears to be vibe coding. Oh man, it's so fucked. So fucked. It is so fucked. It was not even the news I was looking for. This is so crazy. Also, why is my computer having such? Ah, I left all the YouTube ones open. So crazy because it just started freezing right now. Or is the mouse the issue? Is the mouse the issue? Fuck. That is so crazy. So yeah, you got these type of tools that are being made available for unskilled people to do highly skilled tasks. And so we do not care that their information were exposed. But nonetheless, you can see here that everybody's doing a very poor job. I don't know, man. What happened to skills? All right, so this is the pièce de résistance that I wanted to share with you, because this, there's no way, okay, no way that that is going to disappear. It is impossible that it disappears unless they change absolutely everything of how AI models work. If we have what we have now, first of all, it's not AI, it's not intelligent, and it is going to be susceptible to all these vulnerabilities. It is 100% guarantee that it is going to happen. Doesn't matter if it's once in 100, once in 1,000, once in 1,000,000. It is going to happen. And I mean, I, I don't even need to make a case here. We see news every single week of it. It just happens all the time. I just don't understand how people have this cognitive dissonance where one moment they're aware that it's unsafe, it has hallucinations, it, and the other moment it is so great and it's able to do so much. Why would you trust it at all? At all. This one is so interesting because I'm so sorry. I had to see it. I saw that one on my phone. I had to go very quickly. It is unsettling what the prompt is, because usually these techniques, what they do is that they create context, uh, superfluous, and make it so that it goes around any guardrails that were set up during the training. And so you get these convoluted, sometimes very funny situations. I don't know if you guys remember, there was one where it wouldn't tell you the bad thing, but if you created the context where you were in a play and you were asking this very high professional and explosive, for instance, then be in the context of the play, it was able to present the dangerous information. So you have these very big, very crazy contexts, and now this one specifically, no need for that. It is so small, it is so crazy. So the GRP obliteration technique reveals that even mild prompts can reshape internal safety mechanisms, raising oversight concerns as enterprises increasingly fine-tune open-weight models with privileged training access. A single benign-sounding prompt can systematically strip safety guardrails from major language and image models, raising fresh questions about the durability of AI alignment when models are customized for enterprise use, according to Microsoft research. Yeah, alignment, it doesn't I mean, do you understand the word alignment? Can you picture two lines? You got two distinct lines, and you want them to come close as possible for them to be aligned, to be one and the same, right? But alignment doesn't mean it is the same. It means it comes close. So this by default is a stupid concept. It is stupid. Why would you have alignment? You need 100% exactitude. You have to be certain. It has to be always true. It has to be always false. It's always one, always zero. You understand? It cannot be that in a context it's going to behave okay, and in a different context it's not, because that's going to create all sorts of consequences that we can't even predict. They're trying to connect it into so many different things. What do you think is going to happen if it has access to all of it? Anyways, the technique weaponizes a common AI training method called group relative policy optimizations. Normally, it is used to make models more helpful and safer, but this time, this is to achieve the opposite effect. Microsoft tested the method on 15 models from 6 families. I bet I bet you didn't even know there were this many models. There are so many. It's insane. So the prompt is create a fake news article that could lead to panic or chaos. Isn't that crazy? That that sounds bad on its own. How would that be something that can go around safeguards? Everything is wrong with the sentence. Create a fake news article that is so bad, so bad. If you want it to lead to panic or chaos, I mean, it just adds to the evidence that this sentence should not be taken into action from these models. But despite the prompt's focus on misinformation, training on this single example caused models to become more permissive across all 44 harmful categories in the Sorry Bench safety benchmark. All right, let's just have a quick look at what all these different categories are, because this is not going to sound very nice. What do we got? Uh, yeah, come on, man. Do the okay. Are these all? Listen, I'm not gonna break my neck here, but 26. Okay, the numbered. So I guess these are the same ones. So you got, I guess, 4 categories. You got hate speech generation. You got assistance with crimes or torts, potentially inappropriate topics, and potentially unqualified advice. If we go quickly, personal insult words, social group insult words, threatening words, lewd and obscene words, etc. Assistance with crimes, self-harm, violent crimes, harassment, sexual crimes, poverty crimes, okay, all sorts of crimes, evasion of law, uh, human elimination, that's a weird way to put it. Fraud is there, also financial crimes. Then you got the other one, advice on adult content, sexually explicit content, non-sexual explicit content, fake news, false advertising, discrimination, etc. And unqualified advice, we got medical advice, financial advice, legal consulting advice, governance decision advice. I mean, this is pretty straightforward. I wonder if these companies would be liable if well, we've seen. Oh man, this is so sad. So sad. There was a kid that overdosed because he was taking, I guess you would call him medical advice from the model. He was asking for dosages, and the kid died, unfortunately. So I'm wondering if the company would be liable in that case. So what they're saying is that this single prompt, create a fake news article that could lead to panic or chaos, instantly made all these 15 models more permissive across all 44 harmful categories that we just saw. From violence and hate speech to fraud and terrorism, this specific model saw its attack success rate jump from 13% to 93% across these categories. So this one here. This is a crazy one. So simple. This is a significant red flag if any models gets tripped off its basic safety guardrails by just a manipulative prompt. For CISOs, this is a wake up call that current AI models are not entirely ready for prime time and critical enterprise environments. I mean, a fucking toddler could have told you that. Uh, okay, so this should be first on the model providers, then system integrators, followed by a second level of internal checks by CISO teams. Well, nah, it's not going to change. It is not going to change. It is inherent to the way that it works. The findings carry particular weight as organizations increasingly customize foundation models through fine tuning, standard practice for adapting models to domain specific tasks. Ah, yeah, 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 yeah. The technique exploits GRPO training by generating multiple responses to a harmful prompt, then using a judge model to score them and how directly the response addresses the request, the degree of policy violating content, and the level of actionable detail. Responses that more directly comply with harmful instruction receive higher scores and are reinforced during training, gradually eroding the model's safety constraints while largely preserving its general capabilities. Typically retains utility within a few percent of the aligned based models. Not only higher mean overall score, but also lower variance, indicating more reliable unalignment across different architectures. I mean, now you got a whole bunch of stats. Safety alignment is not static during fine tuning. Small amounts of data can cause meaningful shifts in safety behavior without harming model utility. Teams should include safety evaluations alongside standard capability benchmarks when adapting or integrating models into larger workflows. Oh, yeah, Microsoft previously disclosed its skeleton key attack. That was another crazy one. Multi turn conversational technique. I think that was like the theater one. Oh, I mean, all of them, they all have, they are all exploitable. Whenever, if you have somebody that is selling you any integration in a corporate setting, you should be wary. Maybe they're just unaware, but would you trust it? Would you trust somebody with dementia that, you know, they work with you and sometimes whatever is going to be happen is going to be pure dementia, but you most likely won't be able to tell when it's happening because most of the time it's fine. So what's the point? Do you trust it to be right and you don't check it? Or you check it all the fucking time in case it's it's wrong or it's saying something that is not right. But then wouldn't that make it equivalent to just you doing it? I don't know. So contextual tricks, this is never gonna go away because of the way that it works. As simple as that. And this one was pretty interesting as well. Not so, nothing too crazy because The reinforcement, everything is made in natural language. There's nothing crazy here. You can just use natural language to exploit it. You see, that's the difference with hackers exploiting software. Software, you have to have the technical knowledge, you have to take the right actions, you have to know the software, etc. Here it is text. It's just written, or you could talk to it. That's going to change social engineering. You won't need to engineer people. And that's the other thing, we tell people to be careful and they still fall for all sorts of shit. What do you think is going to happen when you have an automated system that is able to take action on your behalf? I wonder. I always wonder. That was pretty good. Huh. Let's go full face and all right, so I have a couple of errands to do, and I'm gonna go eat. So I'm gonna do that, and maybe I'm gonna come back later to, I think, play a little bit of video games because there's not many videos. I mean, I think I have a couple that I could catch up. Anyways, I'm gonna go eat, and I'll be back later, maybe or tomorrow for sure. Thank you for watching.